Hi, good morning, all students. Again, I am very happy to meet you with a new topic, 12th standard, biozoology. The unit number 5, chapter 12, environmental issues. So, previous classes already discussed some things, but in this session, we will discuss about the subtopic biomagnification of DDT. Biomagnification of DDT. So this is the last lesson in 12th standard in zoology subject. Here, what is biomagnification? What is the relationship between the biomagnification and the food chain? First, we want to know what is food chain and what is ecosystem. Food chain is the main components of all kind of ecosystem. What is food chain? The transfer of energy from one level to another level. From the eating and the animals being eaten. From the producer, consumer and the decomposers. The food chains are the energy transfer from one trophic level to another trophic level. So the energy transfer from producer, then the consumer, then the decomposers. So these are different trophic levels. So the producer consumers form the trophic levels through which the energy is carried out by the process of eating and being eaten. And next important things, usage, storage and transformation of food and biomolecules by metabolism is the natural process. Usage, storage and transformation of the food from one level to another level. And biomolecules. The biomolecules means what? The major biomolecules are the carbohydrate, proteins, and these food materials are transformed or metabolism. What is metabolism? All chemical reaction in the body is called metabolism. So these are the natural process. Even though the degradation or breakdown also important part in the food chain. Any kind of the food chain. Because we have different kind of the ecosystem is there. Land ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, terrestrial ecosystem, etc. In each and every ecosystem, the food chain is the main thing. Because these are transferred from one level to another level. So the degradation and or breakdown also is the essential part of any food chains. Hence, all the naturally occurring substances are degradable. Degradable means what? It decompose, it destroy. So, when the degradable substances are easily destroyed by the microbes, what about the non-degradable waste? When the non-degradable substances enter the food chain, trophic levels of the food chain, it do not get metabolized or broken down, or it may be expelled. Instead of, they are transferred into the food chains. Any trophic levels of food chain. I repeat, when the non-degradable waste substances enter the food chain, it do not get metabolized or broken down, or it may be expelled. Instead of, they are transferred any trophic levels of the food chain. What is the result of this condition? Increase the concentration of these substances. This is called as biomagnification. What is the meaning of biomagnification? This is the 2-mark or 3-mark question. So increase the concentration of the non-degradable substances. Degradable substances, no problem, no effect, because easily composed, easily destroyed by the microbes. What about non-degradable substances? It is remain dangerous. It accumulate from one tropical level to another tropical more. The result of this concentration is increased gradually. So this condition is called as biomagnification. Tell what is it? Biomagnification of DDT. So nowadays the DDT, that is dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane, that is it is one of the important the insecticide and the pesticide. It is very harmful. This can be transferred from entering into the food chain. So even this entering of this toxic compound, this compound increase the toxicity or even the lethal condition. Lethal condition means death of the individual in a food chains. For example, the effect of DDT or biomagnification of DDT in aquatic food chain. Aquatic food chain mainly for the water. It is one of the source of all living organisms. So what is in aquatic ecosystem? The food chain begins from in aquatic ecosystem, the food chains begins from the producer. We know what is a producer. All plants are producer. All green plants are producer because they are able to synthesize food. So they are phytoplanktons, that is a producer, plants. And the food from or energy from the producer transferred into the animals, that is a consumer. Zooplankton are the animals, they are the consumer. They do not synthesize food even though they are directly depend upon the producer. They receive food from the producer. That is a zooplankton. For example, small fish, large fish. So this concentration of this DDT level is increased enormously. That is for example, DDT and mercury, it is important things that is more harmful. It increases one tropic level to another tropic level. The concentration of the DDT in producer level is only 4,000. Is easily 10,000 in zooplankton. It become 1 lakh. It become 10 lakh. It become 1 crore. So these are accumulated at successive tropic levels. When the tropic levels may be increased, the concentration of the DDT also increased. What about that increase the concentration of DDT? Directly destroy the tropic levels of food chain. Destroy the ecosystem. Damage the ecosystem. So this is one of the example of this biomagnification of DDT. This topic. That is what is it? Biomagnification of DDT means these are harmful effect in the tropic levels of the food chain. So that increase the concentration of the mercury and the DDT level in one tropic level to another tropic level. Here, next topic is eutrophication. Eutrophication. What is eutrophication? When runoff land containing nutrients reaches the water bodies. Land containing various kind of the nutrients reaches the water bodies like lakes. So immediately it results in dense growth of the plant life. Dense growth of the plant life. Because these nutrients are useful for growing plants. Plant life. This phenomenon is called as eutrophication. What is eutrophication? When runoff land containing nutrients reaches the natural water bodies like lakes, immediately that result in increase the growth of the plant life. This is called as eutrophication. But what is sometimes that more amount of the nutrients when enter into the water bodies, what will happen? Because it accumulate more components of the nutrients, it may be deposited on the bottom of the lake. Here, this natural condition, with the time, the natural aging of the lake also leads to, that is, nutrient enrichment. This lake water become cold and clear. This kind of lake or stage is called oligotrophic stage. Oligotrophic stage. So listen here, what is oligotrophic stage? Here, it is a first kind of lake. This is the first kind of lake. This kind of lake is called oligotropic stage. Oligotropic stage. Here, these are the water bodies and accumulation of the many organisms here. This is a lake bottom. This kind of oligotropic stage, nutrient poor system. Nutrient poor system. Because it supports little plant life. Oligotropic stage, this kind of lake is deep. Deep. If the depth is small and water is clear and it is always cold, this kind of stage is called oligotropic. Again, what this kind of lake? So with the time during this process, the streams draining into the lake. Streams means what? Water carry the nutrients from one place to other place directly draining into the lake. So immediately in the lake, increase the nutrients such as nitrate and phosphate. Here, pollution. One is nitrates, next phosphate. Nitrate and phosphate. Here, the nutrients such as nitrate and phosphate, when introduced into the lake, immediately this depth becomes shallow. So this kind of lake is nutrient rich. Nutrient enrichment. Because more amount of nutrients carried by the water and introduced into the lake. So increase this concentration, it may be deposited here. Here, more amount of nitrate and phosphate. So immediately the organism in this kind of lake use the nutrients more and more and growth rapidly. So the plant life and the animal life grows rapidly. Gradually, the organic remains, the organic matter may be deposited in the lake bottom. Here no depositation. It is a natural process. Here it is a more amount of the nutrients are deposited in the lake bottom. So this is the shallow condition. Result in shallow condition. So the organic remains may be deposited in the lake bottom. This kind of lake is called a mesotropic stage. This is called as mesotropic stage. This is an oligotropic stage which is support little plant life or organism. But this kind of lake, because many nutrients are introduced into the lake, so immediately the organism used more amount of the nutrients and grow rapidly. Gradually the organic matter may be deposited on the lake bottom. So this is called as mesotropic. What about that is in other condition? The pollutants from the anthropogenic activities. What is anthropogenic? All human activities. The waste are discharged from the human activities, industries, homes. That immediately, radically produces natural aging process. Increase the aging process. Aging process means it is a more stage or it is a shallow stage of the lake. So this kind of lake is called a eutropic stage. What is eutropic stage? The more amount of pollutants, particularly the nitrate and phosphate, also introduced. The waste from the industries and home immediately is introduced here. Then the increase the accumulation of the nutrients in the bottom. This kind of stage is called as eutropic stage, or it is also called as cultural or accelerated eutropication. Cultural or accelerated eutropication. Here, So these nutrients in this lake, nutrients in the lake, in this lake, stimulate the growth of the plants, algae, water hyacinth, that is eichhornia, and other plants in the lake. Immediately, it is accumulation of more nutrients in the bottom layer. It is more in the than the mesotrophic stage. It is small, but it is accumulation of more nutrients in the eutrophic stage. It containing more nutrients. So immediately result in clogged means what? Blocked in the canals of rivers, and the lakes. So immediately they displaced the native plants, and unsightly foams is formed in this lake. Unsightly foams. And it produces unpleasant odors. Odors means smell. And also decrease the oxygen amount in the water. Decrease the amount of oxygen in the water. So what is this effect? These nutrients also stimulate the rapid growth of the plants, and also these nutrients may be deposited. It block the canals, rivers, and the lakes. Immediately it is replacing the natural plants, and it is unpleasant odors or smell, and it decreases the amount of oxygen in the lake, and it produces unsightly foams is formed. So this stage is called as eutrophic stage. This process is called eutrophic stage. So the eutrophic stage gradually it is a decrease the amount of oxygen and the complete death of the all living organism gradually, because decrease the amount of the oxygen. It also increase the growth of the bacteria. It induces the growth of the bacteria, and this lake becomes shallow. So this is the eutrophic stage. So what is eutrophication, and what are the different stages of the eutrophication? That is oligotrophic stage is the supporting little plant life, because it is a deep and a nutrient poor system. It is lack of the nutrients in this kind of lake, but in this case more amount of the nutrients are introduced in the lake, like nitrate and phosphates, and increase these compounds. Gradually the organic matter may be deposited at the land bottom. This is called mesotrophic. Gradually more amount of the pollutants from the industries or homes may be deposited and increase the nutrients. It stimulates the plant life. Gradually that affect the water system. It produces wastewater. So this is the eutrophic stage. What is the next topic is integrated waste management. That is the waste management. Wastewater management. Wastewater management or waste management. So what is waste? It is the water not used for any purpose is wastewater. That is a sewage is one kind of wastewater. Wastewater or sewage originate from the domestic wastewaters, industrial waste and animal waste. There is various kind of the wastewater is there. So they discharged everyday activities, human activities. Directly it discharged into the rivers or natural water bodies like lakes and rivers. So realizing the importance of the clean potable water. Potable water or drinking water. Water is used for drinking purposes. So immediately the government passed to implementation of the Water Protection Act in 1974. This act is what? Prevention and control of the pollution. Prevention and control of pollution. Control of pollution. 1974. So what it is mandatory, it is compulsory to introduce, it's made all wastewater treated in wastewater treatment plants. All wastewater treated in treatment plants. What is the main objectives of the wastewater treatment? It is a 3-mark question. Main objectives of the wastewater treatment to reduce the organic and inorganic components. Organic and inorganic components in wastewater. Components in wastewater. So to a level that it no longer support to the microbial growth. And also this eliminates is completely potentially toxic materials. Potentially toxic materials. It removes organic and inorganic materials components in wastewater. These components no longer support to microbial growth. And this eliminates, particularly that is, this kind of waste is mainly potentially toxic materials. Potential toxic materials. Toxic materials. Toxic materials are remain dangerous to the health. So another thing for some of the microorganisms normally occurring in water, wastewater. For example, bacteria, mainly the bacteria and some protozoan. This is essential part to reduce the waste from the sewage. From the sewage. The sewage become harmless. It make it harmless. So the microorganism also involved to removing the waste from the sewage. But even though the sewage containing mostly pathogenic microbes. What is the pathogenic microbes? These pathogens always produce diseases. Pathogens are nothing but germs. Disease causing germs always it is breeding ground of the water, particularly in water. So particularly this removes or destroy the microbes in order to prevent the spread of the diseases. The next one is, what are the 3 stages of the wastewater treatment plants? The first treatment is primary treatment. Primary treatment. Second one is secondary treatment. Secondary treatment, otherwise called biological treatment. Biological treatment. The third one is tertiary treatment. Tertiary treatment. So what are the 3 types? One is primary treatment, first level. Secondary treatment is the second level. It is also called as biological treatment. The third one is tertiary treatment. Tertiary treatment of the water. So this is a very important 5-mark question to ask. What are the components which are involved in primary treatment and the secondary treatment and the tertiary treatment? So the simple diagram. This diagram shows the 3 types of the wastewater treatment. So here it is a first step. The waste removes from cities and towns. Again, these substances are involved in pre-treatment. Pre-treatment. Pre-treatment means what? Just before the primary treatment. This is the pre-treatment. Here, remove the solid, core solids and grit. Grit means what? Soil and small particles. So this kind of treatment is what? Preliminary treatment. Another one is primary sledge tank. Primary settling tank. Settling tank. So this is called as primary treatment. Primary treatment. Again, this waste are transferred to aeration tank. Aeration tank. Here, this tank containing air plus liquid. Here, air is pumped in this tank. Again, from the aeration tank to secondary settling tank or secondary settling zone. The last one is disinfection zone. Disinfection zone. And finally, it removes or dispose the waste into natural bodies or anything here. So another one diagram here. Recirculate. Here, anaerobic sludge digest. It produces biogas. So these two processes are secondary treatment. Okay, listen here. The first stage of the wastewater treatment is primary treatment. The primary treatment involves physical removal of the solids, inorganic and organic materials from the sewage through the two processes. One process is filtration. Filtration. The second process is sedimentation. So the question will be asked, what is primary treatment? This involves physical removal of the solids. It includes all organic and inorganic components, mainly the solids, removed by two processes. One is the filtration, second one is called sedimentation. The second process is the sedimentation. So mostly the floating materials are removed by the filtration. All floating materials for this tank, the floating materials are no weight. It is a little small materials are removed by the filtration. Again the grids are the soil and small pebbles. Pebbles means small stones. So these are removed by the sedimentation. All solids are removed by filtration. All grids or smaller compounds are removed by the sedimentation. Sedimentation means it deposits. Sedimentation. Okay. So during this process, all solids are settled down. All solids are settled down to form primary sludge. Primary sludge. This is a primary sludge. All solids are settled down at the bottom. It becomes what is called a primary sludge. Sludge means solid compounds. It is settled down. The remaining supernatant forms, that is the substances or water above the primary sludge are effluent. What is effluent? It is a water which carry the waste. This is called as effluent. This effluent then transferred to the secondary treatment. This is a primary settling tank. Here the primary settling tank. Again, all the effluents from the primary tank get transferred into the aeration tank. Come here. Aeration tank. What is aeration tank? This tank is pumped into the air. Here, the waste or effluents are constantly agitated. Agitated means mixing mechanical by the machines. And air is pumped to it. So this completely presence of air, it enriches or it allows the rapid growth of the aerobic microbes. Aerobic microbes are the bacteria which uses the air in the tank. So completely it grows rapidly, the aerobic microbes, due to the presence of the air, because air is circulated, is pumped into the tank. So this bacteria grows well. And a major part of the organic matter is consumed by the bacteria. During the secondary treatment, this is a secondary treatment. Effluents from the primary treatment transferred to the large aeration tank, where air is pumped, it is agitated. Again, it grows the aerobic bacteria in this tank and consume major part of the organic matter and maintains in this tank is BOD. This is a very important question. What is BOD? Biochemical oxygen demand or biological oxygen demand. Tell it. Biochemical oxygen demand or biological oxygen demand. That is a BOD. But it should be measured in any kind of the wastewater is biological oxygen demand. What is the definition of what is meant by BOD? It is meant by the amount of oxygen that it be consumed if all organic matter in 1 liter of water oxidized by bacteria. What is the amount of oxygen needed by bacteria to complete removal of the organic matter in 1 liter of water? What is the amount of oxygen is utilized by the bacteria to complete elimination of organic compounds? Organic compounds are easily digestible compounds. Organic matter. So this is called as BOD. Why we have checked the BOD of wastewater? Because it measures what is the amount of oxygen utilized by the bacteria to complete removal of the organic matter. So again I repeat, so keep your mind what is BOD. So the amount of oxygen that would be consumed if all organic matter in 1 liter of water oxidized by bacteria. So the sewage is treated in secondary treatment till BOD is reduced. The BOD is reduced. The BOD must be reduced. The greater BOD indicates the more amount of the pollutants in the water. So that whenever they reduce the BOD in the wastewater, immediately here in the secondary treatment, the bacterial masses are formed. The bacterial masses are called as plaque in secondary treatment. What is plaque? The masses of bacteria associated with the fungal pigment which forms mesh-like structure. This is a mesh-like structure. This is called as plaque. When the BOD of wastewater is reduced, immediately the bacterial masses or plaque allowed to sediments. Immediately then effluents are transferred into the secondary settling tank. That is a tank. Immediately sediment all the plaques, that is the bacterial masses. So this, whenever the bacterial masses are settled down, that is the plaques are settled down. These are called as activated sludge. Activated sludge immediately from the secondary settle tank is transferred to the anaerobic sludge digester. What is aerobic and anaerobic? Aerobic means presence of the air. The microbes used the air. Here, no air. That is anaerobic digester. Here, the activated sludge, before that, the small amount of the activated sludge get transferred to the primary tank. It acts as the inoculum. Inoculum means as substances, again it reprocesses the waste substances, waste compounds. So that is the secondary settling tank. That is sludge, that activated sludge transferred to the anaerobic sludge digester, where the anaerobic microbes, anaerobes are microbes not using oxygen. So they digest and they destroy the bacteria and fungi in the sludge. During the digestion of the waste in the anaerobic digester, bacteria produces mixture of gases. These gases are called as biogas. What is the biogas? The biogas mainly prepared by the microbes, essential bacteria. This biogas, what are the biogas? Methane. Next one is hydrogen sulfide. And third one is carbon dioxide. So after that anaerobic sludge digester, it is a final process that the bacteria produces some vital gases. These gases are called biogas because these are mainly produced by organic materials. Okay, so these are called a secondary treatment. Listen, what is tertiary treatment? Tertiary treatment. The tertiary treatment is a final process. It is a last process which improves the quality of water. This zone is called a disinfection. What is disinfection? Removal of the germs or microbes from this water. That improves the water quality. And also it removes additional inorganic components and some substances such as nitrogen and phosphorus in the disinfectant zone. That is a tertiary treatment. It is a final process. Here no sludge is formed. But during this time, the UV rays is used. UV rays, it is an important ideal disinfectant source. It is a chemical free sources. It do not alter the water quality. But it is very essential because it is alternative forms of the chlorination of the water. Chlorinating system is one of the traditional process, but it is replaced by the UV rays. UV rays can be inactivate the microorganism that also inactivates the chlorine resistant microbes. Destroy the chlorine resistant microbes. The UV rays destroy the chlorine resistant microbes such as cryptosporidium and Gaiatum. So, whenever we use the chlorine continuously in the water, this chlorine is destroyed by the microbes. So, the chlorine resistant, this kind of microbes is called the chlorine resistant microbes. But instead of chlorine using chlorinating system, we use UV rays, that is ultraviolet rays. So finally, this water, it is removes and it disposed or discharged into the other natural water bodies like lakes or rivers or anything. That is, water is used for any other purposes. So that is a tertiary treatment. So this treatment, it is a final process which increase the water quality or monitoring the water quality. Okay, students. So this is an important part of this lesson, that is a wastewater treatment. So waste, it is not avoided process. It must be involved to treatment this process. Okay, the wastewater treatment plants are located in Auroville, near Puducherry, South India. That Auroville, the place located in South India near Puducherry, the natural wastewater treatment system is there. Natural wastewater treatment. So the one more question will ask, what is the place? The natural wastewater treatment system, Auroville. So these are Puducherry. So this is called as DWATS. What is DWATS? Decentralized wastewater treatment system. Decentralized wastewater treatment system. So another zone is also present, that is root zone wastewater treatment system. Is also in Aravind Eye Hospital and Chennai Mathematical Institute, Sirneri, IT campus. Okay, so now we are end of this portion or this session. So this is very useful for you, and cooperate and read well and watch this video. Thank you.